Hey guys, this is MC here for Web3 Talks, and I'm with my friend Henry, and we want to dive in a little bit deeper about Web3 and some of the common names or common terminology in Web3. So the first one I have in mind is, what is a bridge?
Thanks for having me again. It's nice to be back. So yeah, let's dive right in. So bridges are important because up until now, each blockchain sort of had their own ecosystem with their own liquidity, and you got to think of this as totally fractioned liquidity. So you have one network here with a bunch of liquidity, you have one network there with a bunch of liquidity, and only recently, I would say over the last 12 months, pretty much over the last bear market, these liquidity networks actually started talking to each other. Right, so it's a term in Web3 referred to as interoperability, which means the blockchains are interoperable. So yeah, this is basically what bridging is. Now there's a bunch of specific things about these bridges. So for instance, most of these bridges will only swap stablecoin, because a token ecosystem that exists on one chain might not exist on the other chain.
All right. Okay.
And since there's liquidity that needs to be provided from the project might not want to do that. But with stablecoin, it sort of just makes the playing field leveled again. So
right, okay.
The biggest bridges will usually transact stablecoins such as USDC, DAI, USDT. But bear in mind, bridges is extremely vulnerable. Obviously, wherever you deal with sort of, token movements are usually the most exploitable protocols. So we've seen a lot of hacks. I think the biggest hack to date in crypto, it was a bridge. It was the Ronin bridge.
Okay. Could you elaborate more about the Ronin bridge?
Yeah, the Ronin bridge is a bridge that connected, if I'm not mistaken, Axie Infinity.
Interesting.
That had their own bridge called Ronin. I think the hack was around $700 million.
Only?
Yeah, so one of the biggest hacks in history, in blockchain was a bridge. So yeah, it's not an easy subject. Interoperability is extremely complex. Some of the best teams in Web3 work on interoperability, but we're seeing now slowly having more security in bridging, and it's a lot more user friendly. Like I remember a year ago, it was extremely hard to bridge. You'd have to do like 4 transactions before eventually, 6 hours later you would receive your stable coins or your tokens. Yeah, and today we have bridge aggregators. And we have sort of bridge networks that don't really move funds, but just have liquidity networks on both, or liquidity pools on both networks, and then just pay you one as you pay them one on the other.
Gotcha.
That makes sense?
Okay, sure. All right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's getting a lot faster. One of the best bridges for the retail user is definitely Jumper.exchange. You can swap any token to any token across any network. So it's extremely helpful.
Yeah, just one last question, before we jump on to the next topic. We have new users, new people coming into the space. They want to learn about bridges, how to connect with the right team, what's the right approach to bridges. Where can they dive in deep to learn more? It's
definitely good to have sort of a very high level approach and seeing where you want to bridge to and for what reason and what you should be using to do that. So we do teach that in our community. So on SocialFi Academy, we have a full segment about bridges and moving your funds securely from network to network.
Right.
Yeah, they can obviously also go out there and analyze bridge per bridge what use case each bridge does.
Well, that's awesome. No, thank you so much. Hey guys, if you want to learn more about bridges, check out SocialFi Academy. So check us out for the next episode here at Web3 Talks. So y'all be good. Y'all be safe. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.